you, so I'm just talking to the screen.
That's okay. I think we're live.
All right. Okay, you start because I'm always frozen at the beginning.
Okay, hi guys. Welcome to the Insiders with Liz and Amber, brought to you by Giant TV Niagara. And we're so excited today to be here. And we kind of missed last Friday. It was because the weather was stunning. And we both had like major projects going on at home, right, Amber? I was painting my daughter's outside of my daughter's house. And we did that in record time, 2.5 days, painted the entire house, and it looks amazing. And you, what were you doing, Amber?
Your daughter's house does look amazing. The before and after, like that was the craziest before and after picture I've ever seen in my life. That was so good. Looks amazing.
Really
we were doing, my daughter and son-in-law actually were here helping me. So they were painting our garage door, our front door. We relayed, we took out all the, my husband and my son took out all this grass in our front and laid sod. We opened our pool, you know, just everything. And this weekend will be no different. We're putting in a fireplace in the backyard.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see that. That's going to be
like it's a safe, completely stone. Well, I wanted, Liz, I wanted a water fire feature.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah,
so like the water fountain at the back coming into the pool and then the fire pit at the bottom. But you know, my husband is nervous about the size of the size of the project that I have in my brain, because it's always, I take after my mama because she always says, I was thinking, and then my dad says, oh God.
Oh, please stop thinking. I know my husband does that. Please stop thinking, Liz. Just please.
Exactly. Just leave it. Enough is enough.
I know. Well, that's actually a good prelude into you know, what we can sort of discuss today is our thoughts and our awareness and how we can see or envision something, and we know that it's going to work. Like the example of my daughter's house, when we discussed color, I'm like, you should do a black house, and everyone she spoke to was like, oh my God, what are you, crazy? The neighbors were like, black? Are you sure about that? I could totally see the house. I could see it in all its glory in that color, just like you're seeing this fire water feature, like in all its glory. And I think we've sort of become aware that we can trust our vision, and that's a good thing for anybody who's at home watching this, that you will have these grandiose visions. And you know, I mean, obviously we got some test pots and we put the test pots on, and, you know, we drew out, you know, design ideas and all this kind of stuff. Like, cause now we're onto the kitchen. We're redoing completely down to the studs effective today. So it's like, yeah, it's exciting for me. This is kind of my fun stuff. This is my therapy, doing any kind of home improvements. Love it.
So that's what I was trying to explain to my husband, Matt, because and I'm just going to say, my husband, like yours, works outside. They do things all day with their body. So at the end of the day, you know, for them to come home to our ideas of let's do this grand project at home when they've been doing it all day long, I understand. I get it. They're like, oh, I just need to rest my body. But I was saying to him that, you know, this fuels me. It gives me like excitement and adrenaline and like just the creating, especially around the home. And I always told him, I'm like, I would like a new faucet for Christmas, or I want a chandelier. And he's like, I'm not buying you that. Like, I need to get you jewelry. And I'm like, why? Why do you need to get me jewelry? Like, is it for you? Because I want a chandelier.
I'm laughing because I actually got a chandelier for Christmas one year for my kitchen. It's so funny. Yeah.
He caved in and he got me 2 chandeliers for the kitchen and the dining room. And everybody keeps saying like, wow, how sparkly, right? Because they're like all crystal.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that was my jewelry that year.
That's right.
Like,
That's right. Yeah, we know what we know. And like, you know, when we move into a home, like we were talking about how when you were looking to buy the house, you looked at a million houses, you just know. It's that inner knowing of, I know what is going to make my living space comfortable and inviting and warm and calming for me and for everyone around me.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trust and go with that if you're at home right now watching.
And we're going to talk, if you're following our Instagram page, we post a lot about feng shui and our living arrangements and things like that, and how you can, use feng shui to your benefit for your office, your home, even your car, your outside, inside. So we're going to be doing a lot more talk about that, because feng shui is really important in how you feel grounded and how you do feel welcome and home. And for those of you who don't know a lot about feng shui, is even, depending on what degree your home is facing on the compass would depend on, what color you should even be painting your wall or your door. Yeah. So,
exactly.
those little tiny things, until someone says, have you thought of painting it this? And you're like, no, like I would never paint my front door like that. And
Yeah.
then they do, and it's like all this calm or peace
Yeah.
or like loving warmth comes out of you. You don't
Yeah.
even know.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
And what I found shocking, because I dabbled in feng shui when I used to be in home staging. That was my previous life,
Yeah.
what I did for a living. So I dabbled in feng shui, not by any means an expert, but I discovered when I first got into it just how ironic it was that a lot of the things that I needed to already accomplish and colors that I chose for the rooms and all of that were on par with what I needed. And I just needed to add little elements to amp it up, right? So it's amazing. Feng Shui is amazing. And you can Google it and
Yeah.
get some DIY Feng Shui going in your home. I always tell people start with your bedroom because that's the place you spend the most time. Get that clutter free and get anything connected to finances, anything connected to like, just get it out of there. Like
Yeah.
my husband used to keep a briefcase with all the taxes and old bills that he paid. He'd keep that under the bed. I was like, why can I not rest here? And then I
Yeah.
discovered this and I'm like, this has got to go. It's got to go.
Yeah.
Got to find an
Absolutely.
office. Yeah.
Absolutely. And even to the point, just on bedrooms, if you have pictures of other family members in your bedrooms, those should be, placed elsewhere as well, because that bedroom is for, if you're alone, your bedroom is for you. And if it's for a couple, that it's only should be two people in that room. Because if you bring in even a piece of artwork that has other like people on it, it brings more people into the room. Or if you can see your bed reflecting off of a mirror, that brings more people into the room. So
Right.
it can cause some trouble in relationship wise with spirituality. But yeah, we can get into that, because
I know, right? I know.
that's a
We
whole
could
thing.
do a
But
show on that, just that.
yeah, and because most people, if you're like me and Liz, we've already cleaned every single room in our house. We've already done the spring cleaning since March 13th, and gone through our house from top to bottom. So I'm sure all of us have been doing that. But yeah, get rid of clothes you don't want or you're never going to wear. They just make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing when you can start editing your stuff because we're so connected to stuff, emotionally connected. I mean, we've all seen that show Hoarders, and that's the extreme. But we all have those connections, especially to our loved ones on the other side. If they own something, that seems to be the number one challenge I find with my clients. They tend to.
Mine is itchy too, Liz.
I know.
Yeah, mine's itchy. As soon as I was just starting to do that.
I know. So, I think it's because I'm talking about loved ones, and
yeah, we're spirit. We got the spirit in the room now. We're ready to go.
When we hang on to stuff that our loved ones had, the number one thing I hear from spirit, and I want you to kind of elaborate on this with your awareness, Amber, is that they don't want their loved ones to be burdened by their stuff, because and that tends to be what I get from my clients. Like I don't want to give it up because I don't want them to be thinking that I'm getting rid of their stuff. I don't want them to think that I'm disrespecting them. I don't want to forget them. I want to still smell them. And I always say, pick a couple of things that, if it's an article of clothing so you can still smell them. That's a big one for people. Or, it's something like a treasure, and it might not be jewelry. It might be a clock or something that just every time you entered their home, that's what you remember them by. And then let everything else go. Because hanging on or being weighed on by their stuff, they actually tell me that they feel bad that they left so much stuff that they had to go through and clear out. So your loved ones will not be disappointed. They will be cheering you on from the other side, going, it's okay, let it go. It's only stuff. I'm right here with you. That's what they're going to be saying. Does that make sense to you, Amber?
Yeah, absolutely. I hear that all the time from people who are like, I don't know what to do with this, or I don't know, or I couldn't afford to carry on a car payment. I had to get rid of it. It had to happen. And they're like, it's fine. Like, it's okay. Now, there's been a couple times where, and this goes to your loved one's personality, because I had, when you've got that man who was big and burly and loved his motorcycle, and he was like, hey, don't even look at it because you're taking away the shine, right? He's going to go, what the hell did you do to my motorcycle? And then be like, it's okay, like laugh about it. But for the most part, they don't have that connection to it like they would. Like, their physical body isn't here to use it.
Yeah.
And they don't care if you're using it, because they understand individuality. So again, it just comes from the fact that our ego-based self is our physical existence. And when that is here, these things are important to us. But when we go and we are now just connected to our consciousness, and it's all, higher self, soul-based, none of those things actually have that same meaning.
Yeah.
So I understand that too.
Yeah. So somebody's watching that needed to hear that today.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, somebody is watching. Should I look? We're getting lots of messages here. Sabrina is watching. Hi, Sabrina. She says, good morning. We both look beautiful, Amber.
Oh, thank you. I feel tired, but thank you.
I know. Okay, do you like my new hairdo, everybody? I cut my own hair. Clearly, I was trying, you can see, that's quite a difference there. I wasn't quite sure what I was trying to achieve there. I had, my hairdresser did this angle cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't achieve that, as you can see.
Didn't achieve that.
But I did cut off about 5 inches. So it just feels so much better. So yeah.
Smokes.
No, honey, it was ridiculous. I couldn't even put it in a ponytail without getting a headache. It was dumb.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Renee Ritchie's watching. Hello, lovely lady. She says hello. Tina, hello, Tina. Tina Shear's watching. She says hello. Stephanie Little says, I love creating outside. It's definitely soul therapy. I just finished my yoga meditation shack. I love that idea. Yoga meditation shack. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
I could reclaim the garden shed and do that. Is that what you did, Stephanie? Oh my gosh, that sounds like a great idea. She says it feels perfect. I bet. Stephanie Patricia's watching. Hello, Stephanie. Vanessa Nancy's watching. Hello, Vanessa. And Stephanie Patricia says, I am in the middle of a move and it feels great to purge things no longer suited. Also, my relatives gave me a ton of furniture that didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, and it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. They're totally cool with that. They're totally down with it. Patricia says, hi, ladies. Patricia Ramirez. And she says, thank you. This helps me during these times. So perhaps that message was for you, Patricia. So give us an idea of where you're all chiming in from. And what was our topic for today, Amber?
Today is Clairgustance, and I was just thinking about it because this is our last Claire, I believe, that we wanted to talk about, and it's the clear tasting. So we kind of talked about it last time because both of them are from the throat chakra, and both of them kind of are in the same spot. You have to smell to taste and taste to smell, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about today, but I did want to just mention about one last thing on releasing yourself from items. So a lot of it has to do with what other people will think of you. So if you're okay to get rid of something, and I say get rid of, and it sounds so cold, but we're cutting ties with this, or we're rehoming it. It's more about how you feel other people will look at you if you get rid of something that your mother loved so dearly for 55 years. So really go within and think about that. Are you really just holding on to it because you have that connection? Or are you holding on to it in fear that other people will judge your love for that person based on your ability to hold on to the item?
Bingo.
So really think about it.
Yeah, I think you're onto like a major thing there. We definitely, I see with my clients that they definitely have that fear. That's a big deal. So well done pointing that out.
Yeah, it's a fear of like someone's going to think if I get rid of this that I don't love my mother or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, you know, ask the family members first. If you're worried about anything connected to releasing stuff, ask the family members if any of them want it. And then I always say, you know, our loved ones from the other side always love having their stuff repurposed or going to somebody who actually needs it. You know, like the furniture that's, I think it was Stephanie or Patricia. Who was it? Patricia was saying, somebody was saying, I'm having, that they were getting rid of furniture. Stephanie was saying it, that furniture could go to somebody in need right now who, you know, like a single mom who can't afford to buy furniture or what have you. That's honoring the item and others and your loved one at the same time. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay to let go and release. So awesome.
You know what? I love that. And you know what? I think that while I'm sitting here, I'm having trouble concentrating because we're talking about Clairgustance and I have the smell of homemade chicken noodle soup.
Oh.
So it's actually happening. So my daughter-in-law, Sabrina, is actually cooking chicken noodle soup. So before she started cooking it, I could actually taste what it was going to taste like before she even started cooking. But while we were cooking it and I was getting ready for, well, she was cooking it and I was watching and I was getting ready for this. She said, you know, I have a cat that is in my head. I can't get rid of this cat. And she said it has big blue or turquoise eyes and it was on the larger side and it was called Wiggles or something. So I said, well, I didn't have a cat like that. However, I'm just about to get on to the Live with Liz. So I'll mention it to the viewers in case that somebody has a cat. This cat would have really loved to have its tail scratched because she kept saying like it keeps trying to get the tail scratched. But big blue turquoise eyes, a chubby little cat, and Wiggles or something that sounds like Wiggles. So I told her I'd ask because she couldn't get rid of the image.
Okay, so I will keep an eye out on here for anybody that connects to Wriggles or Wiggles or whatever his
something that sounds like
his
that,
or her name was. That's adorable. Like that's so funny. But you know, like it's when you're talking about how you could taste the soup before it was made.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Like I whenever, you know, like those Facebook posts that, you know, I'm really guilty of posting, like the delicious desserts and stuff like that. And I'm like, blueberry lemon cheesecake cake? Are you kidding me? I can taste it. I can literally taste the blueberries popping in my mouth, the lemon, I can taste it. And it's so funny because I've maybe out of all the posts that I have posted, and anybody who knows me on my Facebook knows how much I post, like on my private post page. I post like desserts all the time. I literally get the enjoyment just from reading the ingredients, and I've maybe only literally made 2 or 3 of those items, but I can look at those pages and get that whole, oh yeah, so good, so delicious. So yeah, any of our viewers out there who experience that, you can have that imagination awareness that's actually connected to Clairgustance.
Yeah, right? And you can easily practice this. Like you could, you know, one of the exercises that I like to teach in my workshops is, hopefully the doorbell doesn't ring in a minute, sorry guys.
Okay. We'll get over it.
Is to blindfold yourself and have somebody else put, little dishes of different types of, foods or things that you could taste, spices, foods, broths, whatever. And then taste them and really start to use your palate to understand what that taste is so that you can build up your resource library of what tastes, so that you now have more of an awareness. Because if you're doing it with your eyes open, you're using all of your senses, and you automatically, your brain again gets in the way. But if you take away some of your senses and you're only using your palate, then you're able to really like store that and register it as a memory, like through your consciousness. So that's one tip. What do you suggest?
I've done that too. So it's so cool that you brought that up, because I can remember when I did that for the first time, it was the strawberry. When I put the strawberry in my mouth, I couldn't believe how delicious the strawberry was. And I didn't register that it was a strawberry. And it took me a moment to go, hang on a minute, that's a strawberry. It tasted so different because I didn't see it. So it was that, losing the sense of sight changed the game. And somebody puts the food in your mouth, so you're not even getting to feel, it was a friend of mine put it on a fork and then you had to taste it. Pineapple, it was all the fruits that just, my senses were engaged. Yeah. But you're right. That is an excellent way to memory bank flavors and tastes. Another big one that I get is iron. I will taste iron or like chemical. So depending on, the person that's on the other side, or the person that I'm reading, because in some cases it's my psychic side, I can taste iron and I connect that to an iron deficiency with somebody.
Right.
So it's like we talked about this before. It's like a split second awareness. Like it's either coming from a loved one or it's a psychic thing. It's a split second. Like you don't question it. It just is. But yeah, that iron deficiency is a big one for me, with the taste of iron in my mouth.
It's interesting because we have a little, I have 2 grandchildren, and our granddaughter lives here. She's just 1 now. And so she's trying new foods. And so is my grandson, who's 6 months old, and he's starting to try new foods too. And as I'm being able to watch either through a video for my grandson or being here for my granddaughter, and they're tasting the food, before I even know what they're eating, I'm starting to get that taste, because automatically I'm like, what are they eating? So then I start to get this impression of what it tastes like. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be blueberries. And they're like, yeah, blueberry banana or something, right? So it just pops up. So if you did that as well, like almost watching, if you're at a restaurant, when we can go back to a restaurant, like look at what people are doing or focus in on somebody and try to get the taste of what it is you think that they're eating. And then when you walk by, check and see what was on their plate. Don't be too creepy. Like, what are you eating? My husband did that when we went to Cape Cod in September. We were somewhere near Provincetown, like right at the very, 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 very tip, like on the Atlantic Ocean, out in the middle of nowhere. And there was this restaurant, and we stopped, and it had, he was looking for seafood. But out of the whole freaking restaurant, it was us and then somebody else sitting like right on top of us. So it was like out of everywhere. Why are we like lumped up together, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and as an empath, I'm like, please.
That's why they were sitting right close to you, because you're empaths, right?
Oh yeah. So next thing I know, I see Matt, and he's like, he turned around and like leaned over, and he's like, so what is that you're eating? And I'm like, oh my God, can't we just like sit in peace? And like, why are you asking? So then it ended up being this whole conversation about what they were eating. And, then the whole dinner, I felt like we were sitting together eating. Yeah. Like, because it was like, but yeah. So you don't necessarily need to do that.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that he did that. Oh my gosh. Well, let's have a look and see what we've got here for, messages here. So I'm just going to back up a bit. Patricia is helping me during this. And Amanda Dubois. Hello, Amanda. She's saying, hi, ladies. Glad you're doing well. Spring cleaning is the best. Clear the house and mind.
Yes.
100%. Susan Cameron is watching. Hello, Susan. Patricia Ramirez is saying, I have stuff from my kids since they are little. Yeah. I kind of still do too. A little guilty thing I have there too. I have a hard time letting go. How do you think I can release this? So that's so funny because like less than a week and a half ago, I have this big wooden chest and I've kept my daughter's drawings in it from like when she was really little, her favorite toys, some of her little cute outfits, some of her dolls, like her favorite stuff that, you know, I just thought like that's a memorabilia thing. So this box is like, it's like a hope chest, but, and I think, I guess my brain was saying, one day she'll want this and she'll be like fascinated that I kept all this. I'm like, hey, you got to check this. And she goes, I don't want any of it. Just throw it out, Mom. I don't care. Just throw it. I'm like, oh, I can't even believe you're saying that. I'm like, no, let Peyton come over and see if she wants like the China dolls. And she's like, Mom, they're so creepy. I can't even have. So I literally now am in the conundrum of having all of this stuff. And I kind of want to still keep it, but not in that big box anymore. Like that box has made its way. It's like a big chest. It's made its way out to the garage because it doesn't really fit with my decor anymore. It was like from the 80s, right? 80s. I think I got it from my mom who had it in the 80s and then I got, you know, carried on. So it's not one of those, I want to keep this on display. I don't really know what to do with the stuff in it. So yeah, if anybody has any grand ideas, like give me some, because I'm getting kind of desperate with that. How about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at getting rid of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't, you know, I keep it around for a certain period. I do ask my kids if they want them. Like I have a Pendelphin collection from when I was little. My parents gave it to me. It's been in a box for like 20 years in the basement. And, you know, people keep saying, oh, they're worth something. Well, to me, I'm like, I'm not going to sell things. Like, I'm just going to keep them. And like, now I have to keep them, you know? So it depends on, you know, how you grow up, your limiting belief systems, your generational belief systems, and were you brought up like things were valuable or important, or, you know, sometimes when you don't have a lot growing up, you might also be told that you have to keep and preserve the things that you do have. And so that also becomes, so in order to kind of answer the question, and also with you, Liz, is like, just again, going within and kind of identifying, is it actually about you and you having to do something with it? And if so, then you should have a space for it. And if it is about the belief system that you need to keep it, or it is sentimental and that's just what people do, is that your system now, or was that the belief system before? And also going back to what you said earlier, Liz, there's always going to be somebody who needs something. And there might be another little girl, or even Peyton or whatever, who might end up wanting it, that, you know, maybe Stephanie doesn't want it, or maybe somebody else in the family doesn't want it, but someone might, and it might mean the world to them. Exactly. So, you know, it's always like, I'm okay with getting rid of things. And if it's something that's a big deal, I think what I try to do is understand that nothing is permanent. So for instance, if there is something that's a physical item, like a sweater, I can't get an attachment to it because I always feel like that could break down, it could get ruined, it could get lost. So I try to focus more on my memories and replay memories more often than to focus on the items. And I think that might help too for some others. If we focus more on the memories and, you know, maybe having something that you can kind of remember versus something that you have to put a memory towards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
It's hard either way. Like you're talking about trying to go through a grief system in some cases, you know, not in your case, but in a grief system where somebody has lost someone and that's the thing that they're holding on to. Yeah. So yeah. And what I would say is, for that, if it is about mourning somebody, what you could do, and what I was looking at doing too, was commissioning an artist, a local artist, actually, she's really amazing, to create a canvas print for me. And in that, it was going to be a tribute to the people that have passed, even though it won't be like pictures of them, it's going to be a tribute to. So then it will go in place of. So now that becomes, and it'll match my decor.
That is perfect. That's actually a perfect idea for any spiritual artist out there, really. You know, creating artwork that may not be the portrait, the family portrait, or because that, you know, not everybody wants that. That's brilliant. You just gave somebody $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to kind of find what works for you and what you feel, but you don't know until you actually ask yourself. That's the biggest thing. You have to ask yourself, what are you trying to achieve here? And is it still the same as it was 5 years ago or even 5 minutes ago?
Yeah,
yes. So much,
in my case, butterfly, you know, 5 minutes ago, for sure. Yeah. All right, so we've got a couple more comments. I have Patricia Ramirez saying they are in their 30s and 20s, her kids. Oh, yeah, mine's in her mid-20s. I get it. Debbie Mears is watching. Hello, Debbie. Renee Ritchie saying, I know I'm still in early stages as I lost my son last year, but I have not touched anything in his room, and I'm not sure if I will ever be able to. I have had his friends ask for stuff, and I tell them when I feel I can, they will all receive something. Am I being greedy or selfish? Okay, so let's unpack that, because no, let's go right away. No, zero selfishness, zero greed. This is about the mourning process. And, you know, I can tell you when my brother passed away, my mother had to leave his room exactly how it was for quite some time. And as a sibling of him, it became like a shrine-ish kind of thing, but then she cleaned it out one day. She just had this, I'm getting it, I'm doing it. She kept a couple of items, but I can remember thinking, this is hard to walk in this room because I'm expecting him to walk through the door. So on the outside of that, if you have other children, and I feel like you do, I want you to consider that it's more like a shrine for you. When you're ready to start releasing them, and as we talked about giving, you mentioned that some of his little friends wanted stuff. So, you know, that's going to be a way that you know it's gone to a safe place. It's going to be loved and revered by those people in memory of your son. And but it's timing. When does it work for you? There's no race here. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And you do what makes you feel good. It's like eating an elephant. How do I do this and erase his memory? That's in your brain. That's probably what you're telling yourself. It's one piece at a time. Maybe just take one piece that you can release. You know, and if that's on a monthly basis, a daily basis, a weekly basis, you know, however it works for you, you do that. Or you just leave it as it is. But either way, I can assure you your son does not want you to be bogged down or be saddened by the loss of him or his memory every day. And sometimes what I've seen, I'm not saying this is specifically for you, but anybody else that may be watching, having that constant awareness of that space creates an overwhelming sadness every time you're in it. Or, you know, you just reconnect to what your loss is. And the overwhelming message from spirit that I get is always live, move beyond my being gone, move beyond that, because I still live through you, and I need you to still live and find joy and peace and happiness again, because I'm right beside you every step of the way. So take that however you want to, but like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and do it one piece at a time. But Amber, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, when we lose somebody and we have to face the concept of, you know, starting to change the way their living arrangements were, or to reclaim a space, or to start to rehome items, what it's actually essentially doing is it's taking you to a new space in which you have to it's almost like you're actually feeling like you no longer have this person in your life. So right now, that space, that bedroom or whatever, somebody's home or living room or whatever, is keeping you in a certain state of, I remember, I can envision. When we talk about the clairs and the connections, when you enter that space, or when you think about that space, you're feeling the hug, you're smelling the scent, you're seeing the smile on their face, you're remembering them holding items and touching things and using them. And so you're essentially allowing yourself to easily use your clairs to have those visions, remembrances, or messages. When you remove those items, what happens is you still have the ability to use your clairs for those things. But if you're not trusting in them, you have now felt like you've taken away your ability to have those connections, memories, and messages. So when you're ready, because it isn't a race and it isn't something that you have to do, and no one will be able to tell you when that time is right. You're just going to know one day. But again, practice imagining those things before you're even in the room or around the items. Like, know that you can remember without being in the presence of the items, because that will help you. So when you do give them to someone who will love them and cherish them and use them, because what I'm seeing when I'm talking specifically about Renee here, right? But like I was seeing a t-shirt or something in like a t-shirt frame, or a hat in like a hat memorabilia frame, or things like that. So when you are doing the removing of things, take the favorite items, take the things that you know, those red running shoes or whatever that you love, that's the thing that's like, yeah, if I think of him, I think of this. And make a memory box, or do something where you have them on display, or you've got like whatever, and then the other people can have pieces of it. But when you're ready, you're going to know what to do, because you're going to go like, aha, I need to do this with it. And when you're there and you're ready and in that moment, you'll hear it.
Yeah. I would like to add to that where I had mentioned that when my mother finally did clean the room out, it was kind of a permission for me as a child to move beyond that sadness. It was kind of like being empathic as well. So you can imagine I was feeling the weight of not only my loss, but that of my mother's distress and overwhelm, and that of my rest of my family's distress and overwhelm. So I can remember just having that sense of relief, that I can move beyond this now. I get to live again. I get to breathe again. The heaviness seemed to have left the space. I never thought, as a 10-year-old child, I never thought if we get rid of his stuff, he doesn't exist anymore. It was actually the beginning of my spiritual journey when he passed. And I suspect your son's passing for you, Renee, is the beginning of your spiritual journey. The awareness of the things beyond our awareness. It was the beginning for me, a profound loss. So as much as that's not comforting, or it doesn't give you any, it doesn't make anything better, it's part of the greater plan for you. And those that you're living with want to see you happy again. And they want to see you living and being happy and joyful again, especially because I feel like she has other children. Do you know Renee? Amber?
I know Renee. Well, I don't know Renee, but I know Renee.
Okay. Does she have other children? Like, I don't want to, like, I just feel like there's other children involved in the house.
I believe so. If Renee wants to answer, that would be great, because I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Renee, if you don't mind, and it's just, I have a 7-year-old son. Okay.
Thanks,
So
Renee. I was
thank
trying
you.
to like protect your privacy at the same time as I was talking.
I know. I was like, why did I do that to Amber? That was so unfair.
Like, Renee, anywhere you are, just chime in.
Just like, yeah, I'm so sorry. So where your other child is concerned, and I can tell you, and I'm not saying this to create any more guilt that you already feel, just more awareness for you. As a 10-year-old little girl in a family of 4 kids, when my brother passed away, he was 12. I was the baby of the family. My mother's fixation on his passing, and I, as an adult, completely, fully appreciate and understand it now more than I could ever have as a 10-year-old little girl. But I can tell you the confusion and overwhelm that a child will feel when they lose their sibling, because again, this was the next one in line with me, my brother. So that was the guy I played with, right? Whereas my other 2 siblings were older and had never had anything too much to do with me at that age. So I was kind of feeling like I wish it was me instead of him. She loved him more than me. This is kind of going a little deep here, and I'm not saying that that's what your son's doing, but I want you to bring that awareness in, because I kind of feel like I have to tell you this, which is kind of strange that we're going here, right? But I want you to really reassure your 7-year-old son that you're so grateful. Obviously, you probably do this already, but I can't tell you the value in that. And he is just going to want you to be happy, mommy. That's all he's going to want. He wants mommy to be happy so that he can get over his sadness. And that will help heal you in the long run. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. She's saying, yes, no problem. Thanks, Renee.
Yeah, I think the thing is that, there is no handbook. There is no, right way. There is no wrong way. You have people that are worried about you and worried that they don't know how to also, and I'm just speaking broadly here, but when somebody loses somebody and they're affected in a way, what causes some rifts between relationships is the fact that now, there's almost like this short period of time where everybody's like, rushing in and they're by your side and they're cooking for you and dropping stuff off and, whatever you need, we're there. And then eventually it becomes, okay, I've done what I can do. I feel like I'm at the spot where I have to be able to move on, and I need them to move on too, because I don't know how to help them. So if they're still in this state, then I feel useless, or where do I fit in, and who am I now to this person if I can't be the person who's helping them? So I want to also, bring awareness to that if you are feeling pressure from family members or friends or whomever to clear out items, to start to disconnect from the physical things, it's not that they're not on your side. It's not that they don't love you. It's literally their helplessness of, how do I fix this? How do I make you feel better? Because they essentially want you to feel better, and they want you to be like, you have to do this in order to feel better. That may not be true. You may not have to do what they're saying to do in order to feel better, but that's their way of saying, I feel like if you try something, I can help you feel better, and you won't know till you try. And it might feel like overstepping. It might feel like they're not being supportive. And I will tell you, they do not know what you're going through. Even people who have lost other children do not know what the other parent is going through. You can have support systems, you can have support groups, you can have a likeness or an awareness of, yes, as in general, I understand what it's like because my son died as well, or my daughter died, or whatever. But if one child died of cancer, and one child died of suicide, and one child died of murder, and one was 5, and one was 12, and one was 45, those are all factors that change how the understanding is there, or how the empathetic understanding is there. So unless you're living in your exact moment, and even parents, whether they're together or not at the time of losing children, they also have different relationships with their child, and they also will understand the passing of a child differently. And that's why there's that, you're grieving too long, you're not grieving enough, you're doing, so just understand that everyone's just trying their best to be supportive, but at the end of the day, you are the only one who will know when something is the right timing or when you're supposed to do it, and truly how you feel, because no one can tell you you cannot feel something.
That's right. Another thing I'd like to point out for anybody who's connected to somebody who's lost somebody, there's a lot of judgment that one feels, like what Amber was just describing. When you do lose someone, like you feel like there's this outside judgment. I should do this, or I should have done this, or I'm not doing this, I'm not grieving right, or what have you. The number one thing to remember, a husband may lose his wife and get rid of her stuff the next day. There's no judgment there. That is his way of coping with it. A husband may lose his wife and hang on to her stuff for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Whatever he needs to do to get through that. No judgment. We have to remove ourselves from thinking we are aware of what's best for that person. Like Renee will know, like Amber said, you'll just know one day it's time. Your whole being will just be in this awareness that it's time to make the change. And that's whenever it works for you. But we cannot hold judgment on others ever, on how they grieve. And alluding to what you were talking about, Amber, a spouse may feel like you're not doing things fast enough, or you're hanging on, or you got over it too quickly. That's a big one. They got over it so quickly. How did they get over it so quickly? And that creates animosity or resentment in relationships, specifically when a child is gone, when we lose a child. You see that in families. So the key is non-judgment, knowing that it is their way of coping, and it's their way of moving forward or beyond whatever it is they're going through. We cannot begin to even imagine what our spouse is going through. And you're trying to cope with supporting each other. And as in Renee's case, she's got another child. There's so many elements to it. So just no judgment. There should be no judgment from anybody on anybody. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's go from there. Oh, Tina's referring to the cake thing that I was talking about, how you can taste it. She calls it food porn. I love it. She goes, I love it. So Ramirez is saying, but threw it out in the garbage. But if you throw it out in the garbage, like drawings and paper stuff, cloth, I guess I can give it to someone, but my heart bleeds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Take a photograph of drawings. That's actually one of the things I thought of. Sorry, Amber, to interrupt you. All my daughter's drawings, anything that I can frame, which I plan on doing. I've already framed some of my grandkids' stuff because it's just adorable. I'm going to find a couple of pieces of my daughter's artwork, and I'm going to frame it and put it with my grandchildren's stuff. Yeah. So that might be an idea. And then everything else I'm going to take a picture of so it's captured forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just scan it into the computer and then put it on a disk drive or something, or keep the ones in a photo album or something like that. So yeah, you can downsize them without getting rid of everything. But again, you're going to know what you want to do with it, and there's nothing wrong with holding on to things either.
Yeah, exactly.
You can find space for anything. There's lots of room.
Exactly. Vanessa Nancy saying, when I made the move from Ontario to Calgary, I let go of any material object that wasn't a necessity, that didn't fit in my car. It was freeing to let go of all that stuff, as it felt like I was letting go of the hurt part of me. I did the same thing when I moved back here from the UK. I had 6 crates that I could fill, and they weren't very large crates. I had to pack my life into those 6 crates, and it was freeing. It was, I agree, totally freeing. You know?
Yeah.
Stephanie Little saying, funny, my dad now drives 3 hours north with a truckload of stuff he had held onto forever, like a dinette set, dishes, whatever, because I am also watching, I'm also attached to the items. Now I have things like a whole, I guess she's saying dining room set from when he was 5. And there is even a pic of his whole family with it back then. He tried, he's tired of housing it. So he brings it here because he knows I'll feel like I need to keep it for him. Now I'm paying storage fees for these things.
Yeah, my thing is that if I don't have somewhere to put it, I'm not going to store it. So right now, I was thinking of redoing the inside of the garage because I want a locker system along the far wall, because I want to be able to have, you know, everybody can put their boots and their coats in there. And then along the top are Christmas decorations, because really Christmas is the only thing we really keep stored.
Yeah.
Right. And then our bikes, the bikes take up a lot of room. So like the kids' bikes, like we got 8 bikes in there. So to have them hanging or whatever. So finding different ways to store things that you know you can't like put out every day. But at the same time, if it's something like an everyday item and you can't find somewhere to put it or create somewhere to put it, then what's happening almost essentially, just in general, this isn't directed to anybody, but you have this item which is now in storage, which isn't being used, which isn't having an energy created of love, usefulness, productivity. You have an energy of shit, I have to hold on to this. Pretty sure we shouldn't swear on live, but no. So much for my New Year's resolution.
Yeah, I think they already know we have a bit of a potty mouth.
Yeah, I totally am. I totally have admitted to that, but I was trying this year to not do that. Anyways, it's May, it's fine. I did somewhat good. But the energy that you're creating around these items are now negative energy. And negative energy in the sense of they are, you know, worry, fear, stress, like clutter, storage, all of those create a negative energy to them. So we're actually counteracting what we're essentially trying to do. We're trying to store things with love, but that's not really what your energy is saying. Your energy is saying, I'm storing you because I don't want to use you. I'm storing you because I have nowhere to put you. I'm storing you because I don't know what to do. So yes, our intention is good, but the energy is speaking something different. So try to see what you can use and what you can incorporate or how you can do it, so that you're actually creating an energy towards this item. Because essentially what will happen is over time, you're going to change the energy of the item. So instead of, I'm just going to use instead of a rocking chair made by great grandpa, who everybody used, is now sitting in the barn. It's no longer that here's where everybody rocked their babies for 6 generations. It's collecting dust. No one's using it. And now I don't know what to do with it. And it's going to break down and things are going to happen to it in a negative way because now the energy has changed. You've changed the story of the item. So I know that's deep, but
no, it's perfect, Amber. It's perfect. We're all guilty at some point of doing something like that. Every single one of us. There's not one person watching.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, it could be like a trophy from our past, or it could be, I mean, you name it. It's there. We all have that emotional attachment.
Well, let me ask you guys something, just to kind of watch and be aware of what I just said, the statement I just said about changing the energy. You've gone back and looked at this like really bubble wrapped, packed up teapot from, you know, your great grandmother. And it's broken. And you're like, there's no freaking way that this thing is broken. Like, it's been in this box. No one's touched it. No one's moved it. Nothing. There's no way it's broken. It's broken because the energy towards the item has changed. It's not an energy of love. It's not an energy of use. It's not an energy of continuation of generation. It's, you have me sitting here. What am I supposed to do? My energy has changed it.
Yeah, that's so, I have a clock from my from my grandmother in my garage, and I always feel so guilty about keeping it in there. And it's like, I'm keeping it because it's my grandmother's. So I am like you, Amber, going through my garage right now, trying to set up some kind of system so that I don't wipe out every time I walk in there.
Right.
It's a vein of my existence. And according to the feng shui, that's my space. That is my best space. And it is like cluttered with stuff. So it kind of explains a lot, right?
I was just going to say, that's very metaphorical about what we're doing right now. Like even individually for all of us, is like, if you're a spiritual person, this is your time to shine. This is your time to declutter. So if that's your space and it's full of clutter, you still got some work to do.
I've already done 4 dump runs, like crazy. I found 2 boxes in there from when I moved into this house with my husband from like 9 years ago.
Wow.
9 years ago, I moved in here. 2 boxes that have not ever been opened. Now, in fairness, one of them was all my spiritual books.
Yeah.
From my old office, which I've never gotten an office. As you can see, I'm in my living room here, which we are now building downstairs. Can I get a yeah, everybody? So yeah, like it's just take one piece at a time. I had to release all the stuff. I ended up going through that other box and going, why did I even keep this? Oh my God.
I know. It's your change.
Yeah, dipped it. So
for those of you who don't have a space for books, like my grandmother, she would still have it if she could, where she is now, but she had like libraries of books, like all over her walls, like just books ever. She loved books. And what happened when she moved was we all, like, you know, her kids got to decide what they wanted to keep and what they didn't, and then anything else got to go to the grandkids and whatever, right? But her books were important to her. So what she wanted was everybody who enjoyed a certain topic got those books, right? So if you don't have room for books and you know someone needs them, then you rehome them, or you say, this is yours to borrow for now, and then you're going to know who you need to give it to and what have you. But yeah, books are one of those things that mean a lot to you because of the knowledge they give you, but then they take up space.
They take up so much space. Right now they're in a lovely big box.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the time, my lovely friend. That's been almost an hour.
All right. Well, I just would like to say one thing about Clairgustance, which is what we essentially started out to do. And it is not a huge topic, and you know enough about clairs and what they are. It's not like we needed to take this whole hour to discuss it anyway, but challenge yourself this weekend to practice. So for instance, you know, if you're having a barbecue, start to imagine what each item you're going to eat tastes like, or imagine constructing a burger or a veggie burger or whatever. And okay, I've added ketchup and now I can taste what that's going to taste like. And now I've added mustard or whatever. Start to practice that. You can also just in your, like take a magazine or your phone or what have you, and flip through to something, and then like allow yourself to start tasting. And when you look down, you're going to be able to see if you were intuitively receiving, you know, the picture that matched the taste you were getting through your clairgustance. And so those are different exercises that you can try. Again, they're both from clairalience and clairgustance are from the throat chakra. So if you are blocked in your throat chakra from communication problems, or you know, speak with knives, or you hold on to everything, you have to do some work in there to clear out that chakra and heal it and balance it before you're able to like successfully get like easy messages through those things.
Perfect.
That's it.
That's perfect. So, excuse me. I think we've got Patricia. I'll just quickly go over it. Patricia says, oh my God, such a good idea. Scan and pics. Also liked the canvas idea. Just thought of something amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. Spring cleaning is going to be fun instead of being painful. Warm hugs to you both.
Thank God.
Right? Yes. I know. So we've helped one person today at least.
Yes. And that matters so much to me. So that's amazing.
I know. We always go into this with, as long as one person just gets a little awareness on something, then we're doing the right thing. That's how we both think about it. It helps when you're still attached to something that has been given away that I really wanted. Yeah, like let it go. Let it go. Yeah. And Gil Grand's watching. Hi, Gil. Nice to see you.
Gil
And
Grand.
I know he's just coming in right at the end, so you'll have to rewatch this, Gil.
Yes.
So, I don't have a fun fact about myself that I can think of off the fly. Do you have anything planned, Amber?
No. No, I was just trying to think of something on the fly, but I think fun fact is I want to start writing more.
Oh.
So I'm going to try to just like writing to people, like writing a letter to my grandmother or writing a letter to my parents. Like I want to do, start sending mail again because I feel like it's like a lost thing. So that was one of the things I wanted to start to do more of.
That's absolutely perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything that I can think of. So we're gonna leave that on Amber.
Okay.
And her handwriting. And I think that's a great idea. And maybe I'll adopt that fun fact that I will start doing more of that.
Try it. It helps.
I miss my grandmother who used to live in the UK. She used to write me all the time. And obviously she's on the other side now. And I discovered some letter. Well, I didn't discover them. My aunt, who now is also from the UK, she was living in Paris. I think she's back in the UK now. It doesn't matter. She brought, when she came for my niece's wedding, she brought some letters that I had sent to my grandmother when I was like a little girl, and they were adorable. I was like, oh my gosh, I loved that feeling of just feeling so special. So if you have children in your life, send them a letter. It is the most fascinating, amazing feeling as a child to receive a letter just for you, specifically for you. And it really helps. Like I could see like where I was writing, was spelling, and she didn't care. She was just so wonderful. What a great grandmother. So a little honor to her today.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in to Giant TV's The Insiders with Liz and Amber, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys. We love you.